Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Badass Confidence Coach. Today we're continuing on our series about what is it that people don't talk about enough. We're going to talk about it. And today we're talking about mental load, or I should say mental load resentment that women feel towards men.
Great.
Let me be very specific and blunt about it.
Oh, good. I was hoping you'd say that.
Looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
But this is a really big topic, and I have alluded to it. You and I have discussed it here and there on other episodes of the podcast, but we've never done an episode just on this. And it is a subject that comes up so often with my coaching and my therapy clients. So it's out there and it is felt deeply, mostly amongst women. I would say 90% of the people I talk to about, I think it's almost all, it's women. And they're moms and they are people, but they're not all moms, they're women, and they're holding down the fort at home, whether they be working outside the home or being a stay-at-home mom. They're just working their butts off, and there's this building resentment that they feel towards their partners and their spouses because the load is not equal.
So, safe to say this will be the first time you have this conversation with a male? Is that safe?
Yeah, actually, it is the first time I've had the conversation with a man. Right, it is.
Okay.
You. So mental load resentment, it's the burnout you never scheduled. And I love that.
Put that on a shirt.
Put it on a t-shirt. Because women are burning out, and it's all about schedules and routines and the mental load of who's where, what time do I have to be there, did we make that appointment, and all the things that go on in women's minds. And you know I deal with this all the time because I really have struggled with my brain not stopping at night. I think perimenopause and menopause has made it worse, where you just lie awake at night thinking about all the things that have to be done. And that's going to lead to burnout. And I've had to really work very hard on that for myself, right?
Yeah, true.
If you run anxious like I do, if you tend to run, you just are an anxiety prone person, this is something that's really going to resonate with you, this episode. I didn't think I was anxious as a kid, but I'm telling you, as an adult, anxiety is just part of who I am.
It's got you. Yeah. Not all the time.
I know how to deal with it. I'm pretty good at it. But there are moments. This is a real close to home topic.
For sure.
So go ahead.
No, I'm saying, I think it is. I think you're going to be able to share some insight because you've lived this.
Yeah.
Right. So it's going to be interesting to see how deep this goes.
We can go as deep as you want, Tim.
Okay.
I'm all about the deep dive. You know that. I'm not here for shallow conversations ever. It's always going to be the deep dive.
Okay.
And you will see at the end of this series, Tim and I are going to talk about how we got together. I'm a little afraid of it. Not going to lie. I'm sure you are too. I'm a little scared. I'm a little scared to tell you all our story. And we are going to.
It is what it is.
It's more than just it is what it is. Tim is a very private person. You all don't know this, but now you do. I'm much more of an open person, and being a therapist and a coach, and so many conversations over the past, well, my whole life I've been this way, but many intimate conversations over the past 30 years. I know where all the bodies are buried first for my clients. I've heard all the secrets. I've heard all the traumas and done the trauma work on myself and provide trauma therapy to my therapy clients. I'm very comfortable having difficult conversations, but I think it's harder for you. And it's going to be harder for you with something that's so personal because it's about your life and you are a private person. You're not going to go around sharing your life experiences and your deep thoughts. And I'm
not all of them. Right?
No, but now on the podcast, I've
got some borders, right? It's like bumper bowling. Like
you've got your boundaries.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, right. And we will have boundaries.
Yeah.
But we're leading up to it. Okay. So our podcast manager had mentioned doing a series like this. Why don't you all talk about the things that people are not talking about or that we're not talking about enough? And I immediately was attracted to it because I'm all about, before I was a Badass Confidence Coach, the name of the podcast was The Real Therapist. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I just always loved that term. I'm a down-to-earth person, and I'm always like, let's get through the fluff. Let's get through the shallowness. Let's get down to the meat. Let's talk real here. So in true form, that's what we're continuing to do.
Yeah. And I think both of the names represent kind of in a nutshell what goes on here. Both of them do.
Exactly. And for all of you, you know this if you've been listening to the podcast, I take the work that I do with my clients in the therapy and coaching space over the past many decades, and I bring it to all of you. Because in the very beginning in 2020, when we first dropped the podcast, I did this because I wanted you all to know that you're not alone. that your issues, your problems, your narrative, your story, now your story is unique to you, but there are many people who have stories similar to yours, and the sentiments with which you feel, others have felt them too. And I felt strongly about starting the podcast around we're all experiencing this loneliness, but it's loneliness of thought. It's loneliness in our heads. We think we're the only one who saw it this way, or why does nobody talk about this? Where are the people who have gone through what I'm going through? Well, they're out there. We're just not talking enough about it with each other.
Yeah.
Now, I think COVID has helped. I think mental health stigma has gone down. I think that COVID was terrible in many, many ways, but I do think that something about that time, because mental health was a hockey stick uptick in mental health issues, people started talking about therapy and their therapists more than coaching. But coaching has gone up too, because people realize, hey, it's okay to know that I don't have the answers for myself. It's okay to get help and to talk about the help I'm getting, to talk about, hey, I'm seeing Anna this week. And I love it because clients will say to me, you're like my mom or my husband or my sister's like, oh, how'd it go? What does Anna say about that? I love that. So we're all very familiar now, and there's no stigma around the fact that, yeah, I'm paying somebody to help me out with this because I can't figure it out.
Right.
Okay. So back to today. So today we're talking about mental load.
Okay.
The burnout you never scheduled. This is something that I've gone through many times. I'm going to give you an example of mental load leading to burnout. It's 2 a.m. You bolt upright in your bed. Did I RSVP Johnny for the school trip? Who's going to walk the dog tomorrow morning? I got to go to work. I got my class scheduled. Shoot, I didn't think about that. I got to call my sister back. Oh, shoot, I have got to get on that vacation I said we were going to do. What's the deadline for the sign-up date for that cruise? I got to call my mom. Did I call? When's the last time I talked to her? I got to call her. That's mental load. Who's making dinner? Or I'm making dinner and I have no idea what I'm making because I'm exhausted and I'm sick of thinking about making dinner. That's a big one for me. So you all who are listening and watching, think about the things that go through your head, the thoughts that go through your mind all the time, all that you are balancing, all that you are juggling, that's mental load. And when you start to have feelings around it, bitterness, irritation, anger, maybe rage, you start to feel down, depressed, that's telling you you're moving into resentment and burnout. And you got to take care of this. You are behooved to take care of this if this is something that you're feeling.
You said, I think at the beginning, like over...
Move to the side a little bit.
No,
I feel like you're all tense.
I'm not tense.
Because this is...
No. So...
You are.
Shiny ball, stay with me. You said at the beginning, 90%, I think you said 90, but I think you meant 100% at the time. This is something that females, in your experience, in your world...
I don't know men to talk about it. Well, men who come to me... It's interesting, when I see men in my practice, this is not why they're coming to therapy. Right. They're not coming. The only time I would see this is maybe if they were a widow or they had been widowed. I have seen it years ago with really good dads who were divorced and they were struggling. But that wasn't why they came to therapy. It was interesting. But this would come up in the conversation. Who were managing a bunch of balls with taking care of their 2 and 3 kids. They were doing all the things because maybe they had an ex-wife or an ex-partner who wasn't holding up their end of the bargain that they said they would do. I don't see it very often, though.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, is it possible as a male? I mean, so I'll represent the whole male listener right now, but is it possible that those thoughts are still there, but maybe they're in a different arena? Maybe those thoughts of overload are all about their work or all about their business or all about something else.
Yes.
And that might be the only reason it hasn't come into the therapy conversation, because that's not why somebody, in this case, a male, might be at a therapy session. There might be something else that's gotten them there that day. But I think that mental overload, I think it's still a thing for males. I just think that maybe it's not brought to the attention in a therapy session about their partner.
Well, it's mental load, and we're specifically talking today about mental load of all the tasks that women have to do that men don't do, not to the extent that women do. And you're really good. You and I have a really good division of labor, but I'm still in charge of cooking the meals every single night. I like cooking, and it gets exhausting. I make all the decisions. I'm the CEO of the kitchen and the meals in this house. I make all the decisions about food and meals and what we're eating, and I make everything. Like, what night we're going to order takeout because I'm exhausted. You never balk at. You're like, okay, I don't really care. You just want dinner served. And there have been times when I'm just too exhausted because of my career that I'm like, I'm not making anything. There's no food.
Yeah.
Just figure it out.
Yeah.
And you never complain, but you do wonder what there is to eat. And I'm like, I don't know. Go in the refrigerator and figure it out.
Yeah.
I am not your mother. I haven't said that to you, but I'm sure you probably thought that. And I have felt that way. Rarely, but that's when I've hit a wall.
Yeah.
And I myself, probably going against everything I tell all of you, my clients over these years to do, I myself was sitting there eating a bowl of cereal, leaning up against a kitchen sink because I was just exhausted and didn't want to think one more time about what I was serving for dinner. Now, it's easier now because just the two of us, and well, we've got kids coming in and out, but they've all moved out. We have one now who has moved back home out of the 5. It was harder when they were growing up. I had to have dinner every night, every single night. What's for dinner? What's for dinner? I was pretty good about it. I don't give myself a big pat on the back because I did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
And there were nights. Fridays was always, remember, we'd order pizza or we'd get pizza from Costco.
Casual night.
Right.
Yeah.
Some nights we did a lot of tacos. I figured out quickly how to do easy things, but still it was all on me.
Yeah.
It got to be hard.
You're right. You're 100% right. And I think that some of that was you brought some of that to yourself also. There's times where I'm like, I'm not coming home thinking about like, well, what do you have ready for me to eat? That's not.
Well, it's not that. No, you're not like that because it's not the 50s.
Yeah.
But you're not driving on the way home from work, Tim. You're not thinking at 1:00 in the afternoon, what am I making for dinner tonight?
Right.
Said you never in your life. So yeah, admit it. Admit it.
I've never said it once. I mean, okay, maybe not.
Admit it.
Maybe not. Yeah.
You've never once thought to yourself, what am I making for dinner tonight?
Okay.
Do it. Admit it. You're not admitting it. It's so true.
Okay. All right. I
Why
never said
See,
that.
this is bugging me. Why are you fighting me on this?
I'm not fighting you. I'm just saying.
Okay, you do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Cooking meals are not your thing, but that's something that has to happen 7 nights a week, and it's been all on me. Now, I have not complained to you. And to your credit, when I was taking classes down at Second City for a year and a half, and remember, it was Monday nights for a while.
Yeah.
I was gone Mondays, and my class didn't until 7, and I would get home around 7:40. So we lived in the suburbs, and I would drive home from Old Town in Chicago, drive home. And I told you, I'm not doing dinner Monday nights. There's no way. And you were like, okay, that's fine. So you were great. You were really great. I'd walk in the door and you always made us a huge salad. It literally was the kitchen sink. It was unbelievable the things you put in that salad. I mean, you would take our entire refrigerator and make a salad out of it.
Yeah.
Which was good. Surprising. In the beginning, I had to tell you to chill on the salt because I'd wake up at midnight and be like, so parched.
Okay.
Because the salad's so salty. I mean, you put all the vegetables, olives, pickles. What else did you put so much in there?
All the stuff, but stay on track.
Nuts,
it's okay.
almonds,
we don't have to get into the
cashews.
salad.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, what it didn't matter in a way, the salads actually were good. I'm sort of teasing you. They were salty in the beginning, but they were good. And I give you credit because you were like, okay, cool. And you were up for it and you would make the salad and you were great because it would be ready like as soon as I walked in the door because you knew it was like 7:45 and it was getting late and we don't really eat that late. And it was great. It was a no-brainer. I knew that Monday nights I wasn't cooking. So that really helped the mental load.
Yeah.
It did.
And so go back a little bit. I'm with you. I hear what you're saying because you're not only are you thinking about what you're going to make for dinner, but you're also thinking one step before that, like what is in the fridge? What is in the freezer?
Exactly.
Right?
You
like,
have to.
What did I buy a week and a half, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago?
Yes.
Right? What's left?
What's about to expire? That's
What's
my big
about
thing.
to
Because we have
expire?
we
Yeah.
have 2 refrigerators, and we
Yeah.
always have to go down. And I have to check, or I'll tell you to check. And yes, that's part of the mental load. It's like,
Yeah.
what do we have?
I get that.
What's in the fridge? You'll be down there doing laundry or something. You'll be like, the bison's about to expire tomorrow. So that actually helps me. I'm like, oh, okay. So tomorrow I have to cook that bison meat or whatever, the chicken.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, I'm
That's
with
all
you.
it is.
I'm 100% with you. And I think I can't speak for all males, but I'll speak for myself. My thought process might not start until I walk back in the door after a day away at work. I've not thought about like all of those things throughout the day.
Because you haven't had to.
I haven't had to.
I know.
And when I walk in the door, it's all I think about is, well, what do we have that I could cook? If there's not something to eat that's already made, then I'm like, all right, quickly, let's fast forward this, right? What's downstairs? What's in the freezer? I'll turn on the grill. I'll turn on the, whatever it is, and I'll just do it.
We have a lot of
Yeah.
foods that are simple and you do a lot of eggs.
Yeah.
You put a lot of chicken in the oven.
It's like a
frozen
typical,
stuff,
like it's
air fryer stuff. I mean, in this day and age, it's easy, but for me, it doesn't matter what it is you do. Just somebody else do it.
right.
Somebody else do the laundry. The big thing for me is I'll come upstairs, or I have a home office, and I'll go through. I'll be in between sessions, or I'll have a break, and I'll go through the house from my office, and I see there's a load of clean laundry in the family room, and that it's starting to bug me because you put it there, and it's like, well, because you put it there, I don't think you're sending me a nonverbal message like you should fold the laundry, because you're not like that.
No.
But I see it,
Yeah.
and I'm like, that laundry needs folded.
Yeah.
So who's going to fold the laundry? Tim's gone till 6. I'm here. Yes, I'm working too, but I think as a woman, and I have this thriving business that I'm running, I have to go fold that load of laundry because we don't have anybody. We've hired a housekeeper who's going to fold the laundry. So I have to now get that in my head that laundry needs folded. It really does need to be taken up to people's bedrooms because our son is home, and all of a sudden it's like everything's piled back up with food and laundry. But that's on me. I feel an obligation to get that done. Now it's like I've just added something and I didn't know it when I woke up at 6 a.m. this morning. Now I got to fold that laundry.
Yeah.
So that's adding to the mental load.
Sure.
Okay. So you all know very much what we're talking about. I'm sure many of you women are nodding because this is so common.
Can I say one more thing real quick? So I think this speaks to a bigger topic of the differences between males and females. I think it also speaks to males are like fix-it creatures, like problem, identify, fix. I'm not thinking about that situation all day long. I'm seeing it when I see it, and then I'm like, fix it now, change it, fix it, repair it, whatever it is.
You're in the moment thinker.
I'm in the moment, but I think that speaks to males much of the time, if not all of the time. Right. So I think that's part of this too. It's not in the back of our head that something like this, and then we like think about it throughout the day. We're on it. We're off it. We're on it. We're off it.
Well, I think it kind of needs to start being that way.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's how it is. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that. I get that. And I think that there's room for improvement for a lot of men.
Sure. 100%.
Or gay couples. I'm sure there's in a same sex partnership of women and men. I'm sure it is the same for many, many same sex couples. One person has the mental load of everything that is happening in the house, the apartment, condo, wherever, the farm. And the other person, I hope that there's a division of labor. And I think that we tend to fall back to our ways. Okay, so we're going to get into what to do about it. So I wanted to talk just very quickly. There's a lot of research on this. Actually, when I was doing my research on this, these are studies from 24 and this year, which is interesting. And I went back to 23, but there's so much research on this that I'm going to talk about the studies from 2024 and already in 2025. There was a University of Bath in England survey of 3,100 UK parents. They found that mothers shoulder 71% of the mental load tasks. 71%. Okay. And why does this matter? The study matter because what they found is that it correlates with higher cortisol and burnout rates. So high cortisol is high stress. So these 71% of wives and mothers are operating at this high level of stress and burnout. That's not fun to be around. That's me. I've been that. It's not fun to be me because you're in an air quote bad mood a lot. You're irritated. Everything I said earlier, you're anxious. You're distracted. You're like, what? Because you can't think straight. You've got this noise in your head of all the things you have to do. Men are not going through that the way women are. There was, let's see, I'm just going to go over the few here. 2024, the Washington Post did a review of cognitive labor studies. So that's the cognitive labor we're talking about. Mental load predicts relationship satisfaction more than split of physical chores. So the mental load, more than actual physical chores, if the woman feels the mental load of all the things that need to be done more than the man, that is direct correlation to happiness in the relationship. Okay? Because we've got this invisible stuff that's going on in our minds that men don't have. I am generalizing. Everybody, please remember, I am generalizing. It may not be true in your partnership. It may not be true in your marriage. This is in general, but there's a lot of truth to all of this.
Yeah.
Okay? There was a 2025 article published in the Journal of Marriage and Family. They surveyed 1,400 parents in the U.S. Mental load functions as, air quote, doing gender, which I thought that was interesting, doing gender. The higher load of mental ruminations leads to greater depressive symptoms in women. So all that to say, greater depressive symptoms in women because they're always carrying around this mental load. Oh, this is so interesting. We could do another episode on this, although I don't think you're going to want to do an episode on this.
Okay.
2025 study on, and there's a lot of articles on this actually when I was doing my research, which is very interesting. Air quote, man keeping. There's a man keeping trend analysis that was a study that was done out of Stanford. Women's emotional caretaking of male partners intensifies our mental load. So that's added in, which I did not know about before I started to do my research for this episode. It's called man keeping. Look it up. Everybody Google it, DuckDuckGo it, whatever search engine you look up man keeping, you're going to find all kinds of articles on this. I'm going to read you the definition right now. Man keeping refers to the emotional labor women undertake to support the social networks and emotional well-being of men, often without reciprocity. This includes things like reminding a male partner or friend to connect with other men, organizing social activities, and generally ensuring they are not isolated. It's a term used to describe the increased burden women face due to shrinking male social circles and the reliance of men on women for emotional support. You could do a deep dive in that, and there's lots of different directions you can go to with that, but that was so interesting when I was doing this. That's now women are dealing with man keeping of their partners or husbands or spouses. Yeah, I know. I see that smile on your face because you know it's true.
I mean, is it? I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I'll give you a little pushback on that. Like you're saying that
our social life is based on what Anna does. Anna's plans that she makes with
that
our
part
friends.
of it is true, 100%.
So your social life, if I had made no plans with our friends, what men would you hang out with? Who would you see? Who would you go out with? I don't know.
But do I need to? Like, I don't know if that's a necessity for me. I mean,
well, that is a different issue. That's concerning. I do think you need to. I think men need men. That's why I think you love being around my brothers when we go home.
Of course.
Because of the brothers you never had. They're guys or dudes. They're different from me.
Yeah.
You love being around them. You have gone through periods. Now, you are, I think, are different than most men, maybe better in some ways socially, because you ran a triathlon group for how many years and you had all kinds of guy friends that joined your triathlon, try hard.
Yeah.
And you would go on long bikes rides with them on Saturdays and you would do things on weeknights. We became friends with them. And those are your male friends. Now, unfortunately, that's died out during COVID. It totally died out. And now I think everybody has left the sport of triathlon. So you did have a really nice social network with guys for many, many years.
Yeah.
I've noticed now it's not so much that way. I was kind of teasing. You did have really good guy friends.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think males, I think this might be brought on by females. I'm not so sure that the males need to have somebody watching over them in this way.
Because we're
the
emotional carriers of the home. We see our husbands not having a social life. We see that Friday night they're not doing anything. Saturday night they're not doing. Sunday they're at home by themselves or maybe with us watching football. Or yes, they're coming with us. We're going to our kids' soccer games Saturday mornings, but they're doing everything with us. And we have our girlfriends. We play in our book clubs and our wine dates and all that. We have people over, but we're finding that men are not doing it enough or very much. And we get worried about or concerned about, wow, they really don't have any friends.
Yeah.
And that's a big concern.
And we might be good with that. We might want to spend more time with you.
Well, then we'll get into that. So that's a conversation that needs to be had. And as women, do you see that we carry that around in our minds, Tim?
Yeah, no, I get it.
We worry about that.
Yeah.
We worry about our children and we worry about our husbands, our spouses.
Yeah.
That, he has like no friends.
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying. I definitely do.
Okay.
So wait, let me ask you a question. Go back a second. So you're referring to these studies that have come out. Is any of this, do they talk about the generations that they've watched over? Because I'm just wondering,
these were married couples and parents.
Okay.
It was really moms and married couples.
Because don't you think that there's a whole different type of male that's coming into the scene right now, right? That's in their 20s.
That's men's mental health. That's a different.
But I mean, in terms of the stuff that we're talking about, though, I think
Gen Z and Gen Alpha.
Yeah, you look at some of our. Let's look at our nephews. Let's look at some of our whatever. The division of labor from an outsider seat, yours and mine, looks a little bit different than it did 15, 20, 25 years ago.
How so?
Right. I think that Not all the time, but I think that you'll see the husband or the dad is from our seat looks to be heavily involved in a lot of different things, like in meal prep, in like taking care of the little babies, or
Yes.
there seems to be a different
Well,
take about it.
our generation was that way. No, I'm not talking about the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. I think my mom said, and there's 8 of us kids, she said, your dad never changed a diaper.
Yeah,
He was a very busy doctor in residency in the early years of marriage, medical school residency, and then fellowship. And then he was very busy as a doctor. And my mom was a stay at home mom. And that was what I think was implicit. They agreed that those were their roles. They were very traditional marriage and roles that they all agreed to. My parents got married in 59. And that's how it was. And my parents got along swimmingly. 60 years of marriage, loved each other very much. It went well for them. My dad was very busy. Hey, my mom was busy being pregnant, raising 8 kids. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't even imagine that. That's a job that was, I think it was harder than my dad's because she never got a break. I can't even imagine that.
it's exhausting.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
So they had a traditional marriage that they agreed to and they found joy and satisfaction and peace in. And there are those of you who are listening who that is how you feel today, that you're good with, I don't mind. I want to make all the doctor's appointments. I want to be the one to drive and be in carpool. I'm good with it. I'm happy to do it. So that is wonderful for you. I think today there's more and more people where the partnerships that we're entering into are egalitarian. So that's the marriage you and I have. That's the marriage I had in my first marriage. I don't know about your first marriage, but I know that I've had that. And I've seen my siblings and my friends. Our marriages tend to be more egalitarian. Dads changed diapers. Dads did take kids to soccer practice and pick them up. And although I do think moms still do a little bit more, we're the ones who are making the brownies, signing up for volunteering in the kids' classroom. Even when we work in our full-time jobs, it was something that I don't think you ever did. It was me that was going to see if I could not have a client at 1 o'clock or 12 because I had to rush over to the school to bring the cupcakes over to see the cute little Halloween presentation that the kids are doing in kindergarten, then rush back to my office. You never did that. I did that. And moms do that
Yeah.
because we want to,
Yeah.
and we did it.
Yeah. And logistics might support it a bit easier, right? Like if you're not at work, if you're not around in the
But why
local-
is it okay? Here's the question.
Yeah.
Why is it that men don't think to do it? Why is it that husbands don't think, hey, babe, Johnny's got that thing on Halloween thing. Are you okay with making cupcakes? Yeah, I'll make them. I'm good at it and I like to bake. I don't mind doing it.
Yeah.
And give them to me. I got it. I'll go tomorrow. I'm going to take off work and I'm going to go to that thing. You stay at work. That would be huge.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of husbands don't even think it. Now, maybe they would say if they're listening, yeah, but the wives are the ones who take over and they want to do all of it. That could be true because we tend to be controlling people because we're used to it, because we've never had the help. We've never had somebody come in and say, hey, take a load off. I got this. You just make those cupcakes and I'll do it tomorrow. I can just imagine this conversation that the client would say, yeah, but she wants to be there for the Halloween thing. Okay, so let's say you both go. And she says, no, I want to be for the Halloween thing because I want to see it because I'm never going to have this opportunity again.
Yeah.
That's fine. But I think it's such a load off when a wife or a woman hears her partner say, listen, you don't have to go. I'll go and do it. Or if you want to go, I'm going to go too. That's a really nice feeling of partnership and we're together in this.
Yeah.
The AG1 you've heard me talking about for so long just went through a major upgrade. AG1's Next Gen is here. So what is Next Gen? It is a daily health drink clinically shown to support gut health and close common nutrient gaps, even in the healthiest of eaters. With 5 new probiotic strains and additional vitamins and minerals, AG1 Next Gen represents the biggest step forward for daily foundational nutrition. 1 scoop in the morning with 8 to 12 ounces of cold water adds up to whole body health from vitamins, minerals, probiotics, and whole food sourced ingredients. AG1's Next Gen is now one of the most clinically backed greens powders. Can you believe it? They went above and beyond the industry standard in testing and have made a great product even better. AG1, it's been a game changer for me for my mornings. It sets the tone for my day, helps me feel my best, and I genuinely look forward to drinking it in the morning. Now clinically backed with an advanced formula, this is a perfect time to try AG1 if you haven't already. I've been drinking AG1 for more than 5 years now, and I'm so happy that I am partnering with them. So subscribe today to get the next gen of AG1. If you use my link, you're also going to get a free bottle of AG D3K2, an AG1 welcome kit, and 5 of the upgraded AG1 travel packs with your first order. So make sure to check out drinkag1.com/Anna to get started with AG1's next gen and notice the benefits for yourself. That's drinkag1.com/Anna.
I see it a little differently because I think that there is this shift towards that. I see a lot of young
You do
couples.
because you work at a place,
Yeah.
at a daycare.
Yeah. And so now
There is
you've
a
got
daycare there,
the influence of remote working.
That's great.
Right. So you have the influence of people not having to go to the city or wherever you go to your office because you work from home. You have like these mini graduations for preschoolers, or it's like the show at the end of like a 6-week thing. And you're right. Probably back in the day, it was like most of the time it was the moms, right? But not now. Not now. It's definitely a good, healthy mix of moms and dads, or sometimes it's just dads. It's interesting.
That's great.
I think it's a shift.
Okay.
I mean, think about like
that's probably the millennials to the Gen.
Yeah,
that's more millennials.
That's why I asked you if like age factors into some of these studies, because here's another example.
I think in some communities and some parts of this country, it's not as much. I mean, I do think that these are traditions that are really dying hard for people.
I think so too. Another good example. Think about, and not only is it just people in our actual neighborhood, but like it's some people that I work with that are younger, married couples. It used to be back in the day, you would have to really search out to find mom out there cutting the grass, or mom doing this or that, mom doing the painting. But that's not common.
I was doing it.
But
for
now
years.
it is.
Yeah, it is.
Like you can walk up and down our street, not every time, but you're like, oh, okay. I've worked with some people and they talk about like, well, my husband doesn't know anything about this or that. I do it.
That's great.
Okay. That's cool. People are starting to like share the load.
I hear that. And I absolutely will give you that. And I agree. It's well-made point. I was talking with a client last year and we started off the session. We've been together, knew her really well. We've been together for a few years at this point. I said, oh, how's it going? How's the week been? I saw her weekly. And she's like, I was rage cleaning yesterday. And I'm like, what? What did you say? And she's like, I was rage cleaning. And I had not heard that term. This is a good example of mental load. She said her husband started rehabbing the bathroom because he was in the contracting. That's what he does. Something was leaking in their shower and they started to take it apart. Next thing you know, the entire bathroom is down to the studs because there's really bad water damage and they had to change the whole thing. What started out as it's going to take me a few weekends to get done because he has a full-time job and they have 3 kids and just busy life, right? I think it was like 2.5 months later.
Wow.
And they still were not able to use that hall bathroom that the kids were in. And she had kids like in middle school and high school. So they were in her bathroom and they were going down the basement. And it was just a total pain in the butt for her. And he wasn't as affected by it because he was busy and he was really crazy busy with his job. And then he was getting to it on the weekends, but he wasn't getting to it the entire weekend because life. And he wasn't doing it at night when he said he would because life and exhaustion. And she's like, I'm dealing with my anger towards him and rage cleaning the rest of the house. And it was an interesting conversation. So I learned that term. And it was a good conversation about how she was dealing with, and this is one of the reasons why I was coaching her, how she was dealing with her resentment, her anger, one of them being towards her husband, because he was not doing the things he said he would do in the manner in which he said he would do it, and they weren't talking about it.
That's probably the most important thing.
Yes. So what she was doing was all pissed off, cleaning and vacuuming and dusting and doing, and then he comes home and he sees it. And so what happened, she really shut down. And so I coached her up on, this is the conversation we need to have. I'm going to coach her on how to have that conversation with him. They had it. It was great. And he became very aware. So he was okay with the mess. So he was okay with the boxes of tiles half opened all over the floor in the hallway of upstairs of their house. He was okay with, you could use a toilet in there or something about the toilet, but you couldn't use a sink or the shower. He was okay with it. And she was going out of her mind and not talking about it until she just seriously blew a gasket
Yeah.
and cleaning the rest of the house.
I could see that.
That's a great
Yeah.
example of mental load.
Yeah.
It was bothering her because she also worked from home.
Yeah.
And she had
She's looking at it all day long.
Yes, she had a very
right?
busy, yes.
Yeah.
And that was a great example. And so they had to have like a come to Jesus meeting with each other about this has got to change. He didn't realize how much it was bothering her. They had a couple conversations and then they got a plan together for when he would get it done. And he spent 2 full weekends in a row and got it done.
Yeah.
And the bathroom was beautiful. Everything was cleaned up. All is good. And they have a good relationship. They have a good marriage. This isn't people who have really bad marriage. These are good marriages. You just get caught up in the everyday of all the other things as women that you're doing. You're ordering pizza. You got to get someone to ballet. You're in these travel sports, a travel, which is taking you to other states and you're in a hotel and there goes your entire weekend.
Yeah.
This is a lot for people.
Yeah.
And I know men are affected by this too.
Yeah. You're not prepping me before we jump onto live, right? So we're talking with a lot of the stuff is like just.
So you all need to know that when we do these episodes, Tim, I do this on purpose. Tim, you don't know what we're talking about right before we get on.
Yeah.
Because I want you kind of off the cuff. I want you to be really authentic.
Yeah. I haven't done
real.
a second worth of research on this at all. Like
I
I
do
literally didn't even know what we're talking about until we like hit record.
Yeah. I said,
which is
by
fine.
the way, we're talking about mental load today.
Yeah, good. Let's go. So, but hold on. So I think what was my point? I believe that your conclusion to this whole conversation is going to be improved communication. That's kind of the root of what could make all of this better.
So
right?
I have some tips. We could go on and on and on with examples, but we got to probably wrap this up.
I've got all day. I'm good.
Okay. Well, people don't have all day. Okay. So here's some questions and here's some things. I'm going to give you the tips and the takeaways now from this episode. Okay. This is something that you deal with. This is something that you find, oh, that's exactly it. They just put a name to what I feel. My advice on this and heed the tips and takeaways for all of you. Okay. So
is it safe to say that there's different, I don't know if the word level is the word, but for some people, this is very intense. This really has them stirred up, right?
Yes.
And for others, it's like, it's there, you're aware of it, but you're not stewing on it as much. And then for others, it's like, this is not really that big of a deal.
It's not that big of a deal because maybe you've already talked about it.
Yeah,
maybe you're just like, I'm good with how we have set it up. We set this up a long time ago and I'm good with it.
It works for us.
But for many people, it changes. It worked for you when you both worked full time and you had no kids.
Okay.
But now you have a baby and you're exhausted, or maybe now you've got 2 kids, or maybe you've got 5 kids. It's very different. Yes, you have to continue to communicate and have check-ins with each other about the changing roles and who's doing what. So that's the big takeaway.
Yeah, and that's a good point too, is that this shifts
throughout your partnership and your
these
marriage.
Younger married couples, how it is right now today, that's not how it's going to be in 5 years from now.
Oh my gosh, when they're in middle school.
So be very careful,
Yes.
right? Evolve. You need to evolve.
Okay, so here's some tips for all of you. All right, I want you to do, this is a quick self-audit. We call it the decision exhaustion scale. So on a scale of, I'd say 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, 1 being the least, almost like it's not there. Answer this question. How fried are you by 8 p.m.? How fried are you by 8 p.m. on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 be like, no, I'm good. I'm great. I'm going to bed. I'm going to read a book and I'm going to sleep well. To 10, like, I'm going to pull my hair out. My stress level is through the roof and I need to get the hell out of here for a week. Okay.
Yeah.
So how fried are you by 8 p.m.? Number 1. Number 2, how many open loops do you have in your mind right now? Can you list 5 off the top of your head right now? Open loops is looping in your mind. Things that have to be done, things that didn't get done, things you forgot to do. Oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. I forgot to. So how many? Can you name them? How many open loops do you have right now? And if you can list 5 off the top of your head, I would say that's a red flag for you. Next one, when a task is forgotten, who's responsible for that? Who feels responsible when a task is forgotten? You forgot to drop off the permission form. Do you feel it as the mom and the wife? Does the husband feel totally responsible for that? I would say most times it's the wife and the mom, not the husband.
Yeah, probably true.
The next one is the partner perception check. Who keeps the calendars? Who resupplies everything? Who keeps the kids' logistical calendars? Talk to your partner about it. How do each of you perceive it? That can be a really good one for your spouse. Oh, yeah, you do. You're the one who's got the family calendar going. You're the one who always is making sure we're linking up our Google Calendar, syncing it up.
And as
Yeah,
your
you're the
kids
one
get,
who's going to Walgreens or whatever, Target, and picking up the supplies that they
yeah,
ran out. It's you. It's
yeah.
you. It's you. Your
And
wife.
as your kids get older, that calendar requirement of time that grows also, right? So it doesn't get easier
Right.
just because you're better at it, right? There's
Right.
more things.
When the logistics go awry, who feels responsible for that? It's probably mostly the mom. And the next one is when you have routine, when you have like reminders of your routine. Maybe you've got an alert on your phone, or you've got something in your calendar on your laptop, or maybe you've got a paper calendar. When you see it and you're like, oh, geez, I forgot about that. Look at your level of irritability. Measure your level of irritability. Do you find that you have an irritability spike around a routine reminder? Dog needs to go to the vet. I don't know what it would be. Laundry needs done. Oh shit, I forgot about the laundry. Gotta get that laundry in. It's piling up.
Mm.
What is your level of irritability? That's also going to tell you about your mental load and your resentment building. So resentment can build to burnout. All right. So this is a really good warning sign, like warning, warning, warning. How do you feel about all these? Okay. Really, really important. So if you feel fried by 8 p.m., I think that's a really good one.
Our worlds now are so different. Who works 9 to 5?
Some people do, and some people are really good. I know people who are really good at 5 o'clock, computers off, they leave the home, they're leaving work, they're getting in their car, they're driving home. I think some people are really good at it. I think that the world we live in today, people are working not in those traditional hours, especially if you are remote or hybrid. You start working at 6 a.m. I'm like, okay, you started at 6. Why aren't you done at like 3? And you weren't done it. You just kept working.
Yeah.
A lot of people are that way. I actually think it's something to it where if you can go to work at 8 and be done at 4:30 or 5, it's wonderful.
I mean, I think everybody would support that idea.
But CEOs and managers, I mean, so our son is home. So one of our kids, I have to watch because it's like, I don't want to get him in trouble. We were having this exact conversation with two of our kids about this exact issue. Now, this is a little bit off on a tangent about how many hours they were working in their job. And somebody got penalized for taking a vacation. They were told they could take vacation. They took vacation. It was a total mind screw. And then when they got back from vacation, they got in trouble and actually got some of their salary payment docked. It just was a whole kind of a shit show.
Yeah.
One of our other kids said he was in agreement in a way, or he was like, well, you ought to have known. They were kind of debating with each other and we were in the conversation, but it was really between the two of them. He's like, you ought to have known that. And the other person's like, well, I didn't know it because this is what it was said to me. And I took what they said at face value. And the other person's like, no, they were not being direct with you. And why don't you just know that about company culture? And this person said, I don't know. I didn't know this about company culture. And so he said, no, no, no. You don't say you're leaving at 4. And if people do leave at 4, they just leave and they don't tell anybody and they have their computer with them and they have access to it. If you say that, remember he was like, his managers, the boss, like, oh, you're leaving now? You're stopping work for the day?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And he was like, I got the message loud and clear right away that we don't stop at 4.
Yeah.
Just as much as you think things are changing, they're not.
Yeah.
So
I mean, some of that just
that's
speaks-
another tangent.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a learning lesson for me because I'm thinking it's 2025. This is still happening. And it is.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to leave you all with 5 quick wins to lighten your mental load. Okay. So I like these. And we talk about this. So you talked about number 1 being communication. This is what we're doing. It's communicating. So I want you to name it out loud. And I want you to do this tonight. Tonight, when you hear this, I want you to name it out loud. I want you to hang out with your spouse. Maybe you're going on a walk. Before you start watching your show that you're watching, I want you to say to the other person, literally, I'm carrying a lot of invisible planning work right now. And it's something that I've listened to this podcast, Badass Confidence Coach, and she and her husband, Anna and Tim, were talking about something that's called mental load. I feel that. Well, what is that? Explain that. So your job is explain what the mental load is, okay? It's this invisible responsibilities I carry in my mind. Awareness is half the battle, okay? Once that term is spoken, it becomes a shared issue with your spouse, your partner, instead of this private burden. So now they know what it is too. So you can talk about this is a mental load and they'll get it. They'll understand. Okay, ding, 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 ding. Pay attention. She feels a mental load. It's rough right now. It's rough this week. It's been rough this last month. I got to pitch in. How can I help you? What can I do to lighten your load?
Yeah.
That is going to take you so far.
I would think so.
And as the spouse, you got to be willing to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of goes without saying. Like, you better act on your words,
Yeah.
right? That would make it even worse.
Right.
If you
Hopefully
talked
you've
about
got
it
that
and then you're like,
communication.
nah, I'm not going to jump in.
Right.
Like that. I mean, whoa, bad
Okay.
move.
So we could go into all kinds of tangents because that's another conversation, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So number 2, identify your top 3 invisible tasks. Ask yourself, what 3 things are living rent-free in my head every day? What 3 things are living rent-free in my head every day? Maybe it's, I got to remember these dentist appointments and I write them down. We talked about tracking pantry items, or what's living rent-free is, what's in that downstairs fridge? What's in that fridge in the garage? Like what meat is about to expire? If that's living rent-free, you got to get a system around that. Maybe it's planning birthday gifts. Well, we have all these birthdays we're going to. Like, I got to get all these kid birthdays and now my sister's birthday, my mom's. Is that living rent-free in your head? Just voicing them helps your partner or the rest of your family even see the hidden effort that's going on in your head. And many of you can have your kids help with this. You can have your kids help with, maybe they write down in their little planner in their phone if they have one, or they write down on their schedule what gifts they have to get. Tommy needs one. Johnny, I've got Susie's. Write it down. Have them get involved in this. Most importantly, your spouse now knows what's going on in your head. This is living rent-free in my head. Can you help with it?
Yeah.
Next one is, I want you to trade one whole task, not bits of a task. And this has been huge for me. Like when I told you I'm taking that class Monday night, Second City, you just took Monday night dinners and you just did it. That was huge. And I've said this to you many times before. Like, I don't need you just to do yard work. Like, you're great about yard work. Like, I don't need you just to cut grass. Like, just do the whole yard because I'm doing other things. Pull the weeds, cut the grass, water the plants. Sometimes you'll plant flowers. I do it too, but you do it too. That's really big. You basically do the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's a huge help. Okay. Yeah. So have your partner take one reoccurring task, like do the laundry, do all the laundry, just do it all. And then the wife usually can just, like, mentally, it's out of her head. She's no longer doing laundry.
Yeah. That's when you really have to talk through.
You got to talk that one through.
Because you can't, there can be a lot of assumptions with something like that. Like, oh, I did it this week. Yeah. No, this is like forever.
This is like forever.
This isn't just like in June.
Until we have a family State of the Union and we talk about it again.
Yeah.
And you got to be doing those, people. Like, we all got to be doing those. You got to have those family meetings of State of the Unions where it's like, all right, let's reevaluate. I know it maybe sounds a little hokey. It's not hokey. We've done it throughout our marriage. It has been really helpful. Yeah. So there's no mind reading or no cognitive thought distortions around, well, I thought you were going to do this. Well, I thought you were going to do it. I mean, that is, division of labor is a major, major issue in why people go to couples therapy. It builds into marriage problems. You'd be amazed at how it goes beyond, or maybe you wouldn't be amazed, who's listening or watching, how it goes beyond just who's washing the bathroom floors if you don't have a cleaning lady, or who's cutting the grass, or who's getting up in the middle of the night with a baby. If you don't talk about that, that will grow, and it grows into bigger issues.
And it will grow quickly because those little things could come up multiple times in a day.
It's death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
And people just will implode.
Yeah.
And I've seen it time and time again in my office.
Yeah.
The next one is one we already just talked about. You got to do a check-in. Even do like a 5-minute Friday check-in. If not, then do once a month. Do like a check-in on once a month. But do it, okay? Yeah. Be communicating. And then protect one micro margin daily. So carve out a non-negotiable 10-minute slot for yourself. And this goes into what I talk about in coaching, white space. You've got to have time every day. So maybe it's the weather's nicer now for most of us. Take a 10-minute coffee break. Go sit out on your porch. Go sit on your deck. Go sit undisturbed. And if you're the husband, let her have that time. Guys are really, really good about this. You take a silent shower. You get 10 minutes to take that shower alone. There's no kids coming in your bedroom, opening up the bathroom door. Mom, none of that.
Yeah. And
help your partner protect that time for herself. Maybe it's every day you're just taking a short walk. Just take a short walk, okay? Protect your boundaries around that every single day. Very, very important. What I talked about years ago in my group coaching, and I talked about it on social media, was get up 20 minutes before your kids, make that cup of coffee or that tea, and go sit by yourself. I did that throughout our kids. I did it throughout until they were in high school. And then at 6:30, I knew I had to get kids up. But from 6 to 6:30, I would just sit at the kitchen table, drink my coffee. I'd be scrolling on my phone, or sometimes I'd be meditating or praying. Sometimes I was just staring out the window at the birds.
Yeah.
But it was my time alone.
Quiet. Yeah.
Very, very important therapy, therapeutic time. Okay. All right. So do not wait. Do not wait for this. All right, everybody. I think it's so important that we start to deal with this mental load. It's a big one. We don't talk about it enough. And as always, if you need help with it, reach out to me, because this is my jam, and I will certainly help you with your life move out of mental load and move out of resentment. So don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. I hope that this episode was helpful. This is a very real
It's good
episode.
Yeah.
That
I like it.
we talked about. All right. No perfection here. But as long as we're working, as long
Keep
as we're
working.
trying
There you go.
to better ourselves,
keep
better
moving forward.
better our relationships,
Yeah.
then we're all on the right path.
Yeah.
Okay. Mad love, everyone. Until next time.